now.
Congressman Keith Ellison, the new deputy chair of the DNC. We are united as a party. We have so much work ahead of us because across America, people are fearful. People are fearful for our future. Democrats united are the hope for that future. And so we're going to put our values into action. We have a special election today in Delaware. We got boots on the ground. We've got actions all over this country today that strengthen numbers, the millions of people that have been coming out since the inauguration to say, Donald Trump, you don't stand for our values. We are marshaling and harnessing that remarkable energy moving forward to build a nation where our values of inclusion, opportunity, optimism, the value of diversity are in place. And so it is great to be here today. We got a lot of work ahead.
That's right, buddy.
We got a lot of things to do, and we're going to do it together. Es un gran honor ser el primer líder latino del Partido Demócrata. Tenemos mucho que hacer en la semana que viene. Vamos a trabajar juntos en estos desafíos, porque hay tanta gente en la comunidad que tiene miedo de que lo que va a ocurrir en los Estados Unidos. Y vamos a mandar un mensaje muy fuerte a ellos que el Partido Demócrata va a apoyarle. El Partido Demócrata va a decir a Donald Trump que usted no tiene nuestros valores. Estamos aquí para la comunidad. Congressman?
Thank you, thank you. Let me be among the first to congratulate Chairman Tom Perez of the Democratic National Committee. It is a tremendous honor that he has extended an invitation for me to join him in his leadership of the DNC. And I think one thing Tom is clear on, it's going to take all of us. He's our leader, he's our chair, but I think Tom is ready to call on all Americans to help really rebuild the Democratic Party and stand for the values that we all share, which are prosperity for all, respect for all, inclusion of all, and so we're ready to do it. Let me just say this. For anybody who supported me in this race, I want to say thank you. But I want you to support Tom Perez. I want you to put your energy, your time, your resources behind making this the best Democratic National Committee it can possibly be. And I think I can speak for all of the other candidates in the race, Tom. And all of us are united in the idea that Tom is our chair, and we're proud to be part of the DNC, and we're proud to say that this day is the day that the Democrats come together, chart that new course for a bright future for the American people. Thank you.
Is today a turning point for the Democratic Party?
Oh, I think we're very excited about today. You see people all across America. There's more rallies today. We're going to win a special election in Delaware. We've got an opportunity here in the 6th Congressional District of Atlanta, and I think we have a real shot there. We're moving forward in New Jersey, in Virginia, and I think we're going to elect a Democratic governor in both those states. And so we're ready to hit the ground running. And what we also know is that our party succeeds when we have a real presence in all the states and territories. And so it's not just the presidential elections. What we are united on is our very, very strong belief that our mission of this party, this committee, is to elect people from the school board to the Senate. And the best way to do that is to help do that party building that Congressman Ellison did in Minnesota, and we see being done elsewhere. We've got to do that because we've lost a lot of seats, over 900. And we're going to get it.
What do you say to people who supported you, who said if you didn't win, they didn't have a home in the Democratic Party, it wasn't a party for them?
Here's what I want to say to them. I want to say that if you care about people who have their loved ones' cemeteries being desecrated, as the Jewish community is facing that right now, if you care about people who have walls being built against them, being banned for their religion, having their health care taken away from them, if you care about those people, then you got to stay in here and back Tom Perez for chair. That's what you have to do. This is not some sort of a little sort of it's not a small thing, it's a big thing. And the very fate of our nation, I believe, is in the balance right now. And all hands on deck. I trust Tom Perez. If they trust me, they need to come on and trust Tom Perez as well. That's what I'm telling them. And let me tell you, I've had the benefit of sitting next to this man on many, many debates. And of course, Tom and I were friends before that. And I have heard a vision that I share. It got to the point where, you know, we kind of agreed on a whole lot of things, you know. And there was one press report, and I love you guys, and you know that, but one press report that said there's not enough arguing going on in this particular race because I think there's a consensus that, as Tom said, we are going to build from dog catcher to the Senate, and we're going to fight in every state, in every county, every territory, and Democrats abroad. There are fights going on like today. Stephanie Hansen is on the ballot today, and Our Revolution, led with Bernie Sanders, who I want to thank, by the way, is you know, having rallies in every congressional district. There's a lot of action, but it's got to be channeled into the Democratic Party, into the DNC, so we can win elections. Is that right, Tom?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Chairman Perez, do you agree with your new deputy, who has said recently that he believes President Trump has already done several things that legitimately raise the question of impeachment, and if so, what plans?
Well, you're now seeing Republicans call for a special investigation of what happened in the run-up to the election. And I think there has to be an independent investigation. You can't have the Attorney General, who was out on the stump for the President, doing that investigation. That's disrespectful to all foxes to call it the fox guarding the hen house. And we have to make sure that it is fair and independent. If the tables had been turned and Hillary Clinton had won the presidency with the help of Donald Trump, with the help of Putin, I confuse Putin and Trump because they're so similar, and the help of all this hacking, the Republicans, you know, how many Benghazi hearings did they have? 15? I mean, there would have been articles of impeachment filed already. And so I hope that this independent investigation is done, and I'm glad finally to see some Republicans calling for it as well.
Can you talk about when you made the decision to form this coalition? Was this conversation a week ago? Did it happen in the 10 minutes after the second ballot took place? When was the decision about deputy and chair? How did that come together?
You know, we've been friends for a long time, and when we sat down to talk about this campaign, number one value was there's no one, not just the two of us, but there was no one in this race who wanted to win at any cost. This race is not about Keith Ellison, it's not about Tom Perez, it's not about any of the other candidates. And it's about making sure that we're helping the immigrant who is being potentially sent home. It's about making sure we're helping that worker who has lost his job or her job and needs help. That's what this is about. And so we understood that in order to move forward, it's imperative to be united. And so we have spoken for some time about how do we bring together unity, whoever wins. And if the tables had been turned, I would have been honored to serve under Congressman Ellison. We've spoken about this for some time. I don't know, neither of us document the days, but we've spoken about it for some time because we think it's really important. And I'm very honored that we're here together because we are, I think, the embodiment of good synergy. Jim?
Tom, the role of chairman has long been a fundraising role, almost primarily. Do you still perceive that as being the case? And if not, how do you perceive your role in your day-to-day job changing?
Well, I think the role of the chair and the deputy chair are all about, certainly fundraising is one component, but we've got to lead the fight, not only against Donald Trump, but the fight to make sure that people understand our affirmative vision of inclusion and opportunity. We've got to make sure that we are implementing our shared vision of culture change so that we're no longer simply the committee that helps elect the president. We're the committee that helps to ensure that we are electing people up and down the Democratic ticket. Because if we want to take back the House of Representatives, we got to take back state houses.
Right.
We got to take back governor's mansions. And we also have to make sure that we're working together on the issue of internal culture change within the DNC. And equally importantly, we need to do more to collaborate with our partners in the progressive movement, because you watch what's going on and the existential threats, and we can't be bowling alone. We've got to be in partnership. The union movement is under attack. Planned Parenthood is under attack. And the Democratic Party will always be there to defend our friends.
Chairman
Kevin.
Chairman Perez, last question for you and then Mr. Ellison. What is your message to the folks in the back of the room? We couldn't hear most of what you said on tape because they were drowning out what was happening. So what's your message to the supporters of Mr. Ellison, many people for Senator Sanders? What do you say to them, then for Mr. Ellison? Will you stay in the House, sir, as Deputy Chairman, or will you leave the House to go to Minnesota?
Sure. My message is I look forward to listening and learning from you, and I've already done that. I've already begun that, I should say, because we're all in this together. When I have gone out on the road over the course of the last, how long has this been? 2-3 months. And I've had fascinating learning moments, talking to people, some of whom voted for Senator Sanders, some of whom voted for Jill Stein, some of whom voted for Gary Johnson, some of whom voted for Hillary Clinton. And what is so important is for us to understand that what unites us far outweighs our differences. And what, as Congressman Ellison said at the outset, we are staring unbelievably existential threats right in the eye right now, and we have to be united moving forward, because we've got so many people across this country who are fearful. And so I know that we all have work to do, but I think our diversity of viewpoint is our strength as a party, and I look forward to listening and learning and earning the support and trust of everyone.
Do you understand why they're so angry? That those folks in the back of the room?
I love passion. People have passion because they want to make sure that we address the abiding issues of inequality. When Congressman Ellison and I worked together on the overtime rule, when we worked together to ensure retirement security for everyone, when we were side by side on the Fight for 15 movement, that was addressing those passions. Because I met a woman in Detroit who was part of the Fight for 15 movement, and the night before I met her, she slept in her car with her 3 children. We can do better than that. I have the same passion, because America is only America, truly America, when everybody has a fair shake. And not enough people are getting a fair shake. And that is why we are so aligned, because we got to make sure this economy and this country works for everyone, not just a few at the top.
I absolutely will remain in the House of Representatives, but I believe this is a good synergy, because with Tom leading the way at the DNC and me assisting him, I'll be able to be a messenger between these other democratic institutions that we need to be in communication with too. I think Tom would agree that we need to we need to stop so much siloing and find a way for institutions to cooperate. So I'll be in the House, but I'll be at the DNC.
Chairman Perez.
There are hundreds of millions of dollars spent on contracts. How are you going to send that money to the state houses?
Yes, I'll get you next. That's right.
Both of you have talked a lot about party building and the need to build infrastructures so that you can elect people all the way up to where you want to go. So can you talk about, over the next couple of months, the changes and the actions we're going to see from you at the committee to begin to create this infrastructure and what it's going to look like?
Sure. I mean, we are putting together now a transition operation so that we can understand what the immediate opportunities are, what the immediate needs are, and understanding those immediate needs, we will be moving forward. I expect over the next week or 10 days that we are going to get a pretty comprehensive email or some sort of directive out to members, asking them a lot of questions. As you heard me say earlier today, there's an incredible amount of talent in the DNC. I think they are chronically underutilized, and we talked about that before. And so among the questions that we want to discuss collaboratively are, how do we channel this remarkable energy at a grassroots level? How do we partner with the indivisibles? How do we turn that energy into sustainable momentum around preserving the Affordable Care Act? And then what are the immediate infrastructure needs of the DNC? After the election, roughly, there was a fair number of people who were laid off. That tends to happen after elections, and so there's a lot of basic nuts and bolts that we have to do. There's a lot of external outreach we need to do, not only to members, but to the broader community. And this is like doing some maintenance on a plane when it's at 25,000 feet, because you can't just shut the plane down and do that maintenance. And so I'm very excited about the weeks ahead, and we're looking forward to making use not only of the two of us, but also the other candidates who have all said, how can I help? And the answer is going to be quite a bit. And so many DNC members and political leaders elsewhere who are saying, sign me up to help as well.
Chairman Perez, the budget has not been transparent. That was discussed during the debate. Hundreds of millions of dollars have been spent on national contracts, but over 1,000 seats were lost. How are we going to make sure that that money goes to the states which are starving for resources?
Sure. Well, I mean, transparency is a critical foundation for, I think, any organization, but especially for the DNC. And transparency is something that you're talking about on many levels. Transparency, for instance, means making sure that decisions are made in an open and transparent manner. Transparency in budgeting is a huge priority in terms of making sure that as we build a budget, we're including members of the DNC, we're making it available and open, and then as we spend money, making sure the procurement process is fair and impartial, and making sure we're working with state parties, I should say, in that process. And so I have, Congressman Ellison and I have a steep learning curve. There's no doubt about it. We've never begun a new venture that didn't have a steep learning curve. But we have the same shared value in making sure that the DNC is firing on all cylinders, and we got work to do. And that's no different than a number of the jobs I've had the privilege of starting recently, where you go there, you listen, you learn, and then you innovate. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Be a change in Democratic donor culture such that more money is given directly to the DNC and to the state parties instead of these outside national groups, to name one, Organizing for Action, which people feel has siphoned resources from the local parties.
Well, I mean, when Congressman Ellison and I both talk about culture change, one aspect of culture change is doing, I think, a better job of collaborating with our partners out there in the progressive movement. And that, I look at the Republican Party, and there's been a lot of collaboration between the RNC and the Koch brothers and the nonprofit infrastructure, including but not limited to the Southern Baptist Church. And that partnership has yielded results at the ballot box. And so we've got to do a much better job of that collaboration as well. As I said before, we can't be bowling alone. We've got to be bowling together as we move forward. And so that's something that we're both very committed in. And the good news is these partners in the progressive movement are partners that we've spent collectively virtually our entire career working with. And so I'm actually very excited about our ability to hit that ground running with them and in collaboration.
So we have time for two more questions. Sorry, we're going to do one from Reed Epstein and then Gabe, and we're done.
You talked a lot about disagreements and family feuds within the party. Are contested primary challenges to incumbent Democrats a good thing for the party at this point going forward?
Are you referring to the presidential?
Or how, congressional races, state legislative races, do you see, talking about people coming from the progressive wing of the party challenging incumbent Democrats as something that's a good thing, or a good and healthy thing for the party going forward? Well,
we're going to have robust debate. We're the Democratic Party, and that's who we are. But our job is to help elect Democrats. And, Democrats, the Democratic Party in Massachusetts is different from the Democratic Party in West Virginia. And so a type of Democrat who might get elected in West Virginia may have different stands on different issues. But you know what? Our job is to elect Democrats. And what we have in common, whether you're West Virginia or Massachusetts or Kansas, is our commitment to economic opportunity. And I think when we are focused on that message of jobs, good jobs, and pathways to the middle class, retirement security, that's a message that has elected Democrats in Missouri and West Virginia and Minnesota and across the country. And that's what we're going to make sure we're doing.
Gabe Benedetti, last question.
Chairman, do you anticipate doing some sort of a project over the next few months or weeks that is sort of a more forward-looking, more backward-looking autopsy on what went wrong in 2016? And Congressman, do you anticipate, getting involved with that or building out some sort of project that looks at internally what went wrong during the primary process?
Absolutely.
Well, let me tell you, we are going to have to look at really what went wrong, crunch the numbers, get specific. I think we both have a sense of what went wrong, but we want to ask DNC members how they feel about it. And I think that but the real thing is we got to win. People are expecting us to win. So any look back has got to be geared toward winning elections in this period to come. And not just 2017, 2018, 2020. We are very focused on redistricting, and we're thinking about how we can succeed there and really, and even beyond that. So, yeah, we're looking back, but we're looking back to look forward.
What about rules?
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Can you hear about your role, Mr. Ellison?
We'll talk.
All right, press conference there between Tom Perez, the new chairman of the Democratic National Committee, and his deputy, Keith Ellison, who was also in the running for the role, and Tom Perez, by motion, put him as the number 2 there at the DNC.